You're now listening to All Hog Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimpson.
It's that time of the year again, camp season. I previewed some positional battles in that last episode, but today we're going to be solely focusing on two positional breakdowns, and that is quarterback and running back, bringing you all of the guys, first, second, third string, any of those guys who will make an impact on this team, because obviously iron will sharpen iron in practice, and you want to have your, second string wide receivers getting good reps and such with the second team offense, etc., down the line. So I'm just going to start it off with the quarterback preview. Your 2021 Arkansas starting quarterback for the Rice game will be KJ Jefferson, unless something crazy, frankly, happens. He's been backed as a starter in spring camp. He was backed as the starter now in fall camp, and there's really not much of a competition. And KJ Jefferson proved that there was no need for a competition when he took the field last year against Missouri. He was 18 out of 33. The offense scored 48 points that day. He had 3 touchdowns. Trelon Smith had a fantastic day. The offensive line gave great protection for KJ to manage the pocket and such. And just a quick note, he's 6'3", 245. Last year, he was 240. However, he said he wants to get down to the 230, 235 mark. He said he wants to cut down on a little bit of fat because he gained a little bit of weight during the summer. He should be able to do that during the fall camp season. You got professional nutritionists and all on the team that will get him where he wants to be, and he'll be in a good spot by Rice. Not too concerned about that. His 40-yard dash is between a 4.6 to 4.8. It's been a couple years because in high school he obviously didn't weigh as much. Might have been a little quicker. And 40 times really aren't released for college players until pro days. And pro days, they're already going to the draft, so there's really, not much there. However, I looked at his film against Missouri, and a couple things I noticed with KJ is he has an ability to throw on the run, and that's obviously a dual-threat quarterback, a part of the Briles offense. That's the staple quarterback that Kendall Briles has had in systems at FAU. I think it was at Houston. He had De'Aaron King, who's now the quarterback at Miami after he transferred. KJ's ability to throw on the run will be a supplement to this offense. And another trait I see is he's able to throw into tight windows, watching safeties with his eyes. You'll see on some plays that he'll be able to draw away a defender by looking a certain way on the field, but then he'll see it open one-on-one and throw it to Burks. Touchdown against Missouri highlighted that strength last year. And his offense is going to be very RPO heavy. He's got an accurate deep ball as well, which will open up the field. I say it's RPO heavy because we're going to do more RPOs than last year. That's what he's talking about in his press conference. Arkansas had a 33% plus RPO rate last season with Felipe Franks. Franks was a great quarterback last year, but he obviously had a little bit issues running because he dealt with a knee injury, a ribs injury, and things like that obviously just inhibit somebody's ability to run in defenders. But if the offense is going to have more RPOs, it could be like 40-45%. KJ Jefferson has a fantastic running ability. The 245 set frame, 230, whatever he's at, he's going to be able to really run into defenders, may even break a couple tackles and such. So his running ability connects with that RPO, and then he has the tools. There's no doubt that KJ Jefferson has the abilities to be a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. However, he's got to put them together. He's like a Lego set. You got all the pieces, and you know that you're able to do it, but you got to just put it together. And KJ Jefferson can do that. Obviously, you may have an error there, and you may have to go back on a couple steps and then, perfect him in a later game this season. I expect him to get better as the season starts going on because that's how normal quarterbacks are. They get better as the season moves on. Spencer Rattler last year, he did not look really good in the first half of the season for Oklahoma, but season kept going on. He looked better. I'm not saying, KJ Jefferson's going to be a Heisman contender next year. However, I'd be welcome to that idea. Progressing throughout the season will be common with KJ, and you obviously want to progress him to the point that he's a top quarterback by the final game against Missouri, which is certainly winnable for the Hogs. For the backup QBs, number 2 is all but locked in for Malik Hornsby. Hasn't had any starts as a Razorback, just a couple quarterback runs in a set last year. He's listed as 6'2", 180. He was 175 last year, so not really much of a change. He was a top 10 dual-threat quarterback coming out of high school, a 4-star recruit, very good track athlete as well. He runs a 4.6, 4.7, 40-yard dash, somewhere in there back in his high school days, according to ESPN's recruiting rankings. And basically, his legs are the biggest threat when he's on the field. If you watch the spring ball, his ability to use his legs to move out of the pocket, run, Hornsby's number one strength. And he has a good arm. I think, accuracy, he's sometimes a little bit on the side of throwing interceptions in practice, not being accurate. However, he's put together good series in practice and the spring game where he was able to show off his accuracy. So, obviously, quarterback 2 is developing throughout the season, but if Malik has to play, I think he could definitely be serviceable with his legs as long as he, becomes a polished passer, gets his accuracy down, and just basic QB things. And I expect Malik to improve on those. We have great coaches here at Arkansas. Malik's a fantastic guy. He's going to put in that work and get better and be the quarterback option if they need him sometime this season, if there's an injury or something, or if they need him next season. Certainly both of those could be in sight for him. And when you practice, you'll naturally get better. Bearing anything crazy again, quarterback 1, KJ Jefferson, quarterback 2, Malik Hornsby. Now, quarterback 3 is where things get interesting. There's a 3-man race for the spot. In no particular order, the first guy is Lucas Coley, class of 2021 early enrollee, 3-star recruit. He's 6'2", 205, dual threat runner. He ran for, I think, over 1,000 yards in his final season as a senior, playing Texas high school football, obviously top of the level stuff over there. Now the other guy in running here would be John Steven Jones. He's been on campus for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. He started one game against Western Kentucky back in the Chad Morris days, so I don't really count it too much, and I wouldn't hold it against him, but for reference, he was 3 for 10, 87 yards in that game. 3-star in the class of 2018. And the final guy competing for QB3 would be Cade Renfro, transfer mid-semester from Ole Miss. He's 6'3", 210, and in the recruiting rankings out of 2020, he was listed as 6'3", 200. So obviously, been on the strength program, getting bigger to be able to run, initiate contact, things like that. He moved to wide receiver at Ole Miss last fall camp, and he's been very impressive for walk-on. If you watch the spring game, he had put together a series of successful drives, especially for a walk-on. Came here to play for Kendall Briles. He was recruited by Kendall at FSU. Obviously, played wide receiver at Ole Miss, and then transferred here to play quarterback. I wouldn't be shocked if he's on scholarship, and I also wouldn't be shocked if he wins this job. Been very impressive for a walk-on. And then some other guys in that QB room would be class of 2021, Landon Rogers. He's 6'4", 210. Very quick runner. His legs are dangerous. 9.3 yards per carry in high school. His accuracy was below 60%, so I don't really see him competing for that QB3 job, but I expect down the line he would move up the depth chart. Now that's all for the quarterback preview, but right after this quick break, I'll be talking about the running back room. Now for your running back 1, that's going to be Trelon Smith, last year rushing leader for the Razorbacks, 710 yards and then 5.3 average yards per carry and 5 touchdowns. Pretty good numbers for a guy who was the backup running back going into the season, and there was a lot of uncertainty by that backup position. Nobody really knew what to expect, but when Boyd got hurt, Trelon Smith stepped up and was really good. He actually landed on the 2021 Doak Walker watch list for being the best running back in college football. So you know you got a legit guy when they're appearing on some of those lists that signify some of the best running backs in college football. He's 5'9", 190, same height and weight as last year. And he clocked in this offseason at 21 miles per hour. I mean, this dude is just pure speed. He's a small back, quick, he's fast. And something that really stands out to me is his good reads in his vision. When you have a guy who can run like a 4.5 40-yard dash and then has the reads that Trelon has, you're going to have a beast of a running back because not only are they going to be able to accelerate up the holes that the offensive line is going to get you, they're going to be able to, see the linebacker and read them and juke them out, initiate contact, win a one-on-one sometimes. And I think a lot will depend on the offensive line just in general. That's how running backs are. But Trelon Smith, as long as the line performs better than it did last year, he did 5.3 yards per carry last year with an offensive line that struggled a lot. As long as the offensive line does their work, Trelon should be an 1,000-yard rusher, assuming he doesn't get hurt. I'm very high on him. I think something he'll do a lot better this season is when we do halfback stretches or when he runs, on the left or right side of the field, outside the hashes. I think that he'll run a little bit more up the field. I felt like last year when he ran plays, especially reverses and stuff, the player would kind of look and, not run down the field and initiate contact. I feel like he's kind of got that edge and confidence back. And then also I think he's going to be better at breaking tackles and then withstanding contact. I just think a veteran, works here in the offseason to improve on those things, and I expect Smith to do that. Very well could be an all-SEC guy as well. On to the running back 2. This is a battle between 3 or 4 guys. The first guy I'm previewing is Rocket Sanders. He's a versatile player. He played a little bit of wide receiver in high school. However, he's listed as a running back on that depth chart. 4-star out of Florida, class of 2021, early enrollee. He's 6'2", 225, and he has gained about 10, 15 pounds in the offseason. And he benches 400 pounds, and he's a 19-year-old. That is crazy. And anytime that he's going to initiate contact, he's going to be able to run over a good amount of linebackers just because of his size, his strength. He's very athletic as well. He's got great vision, breaking tackles. He was doing that really well in high school. I think his best fit is at running back. He could play a little bit of wide receiver, but the separation I don't think will be there. I think he fits best at running back, but you can run him in both sets because, gadget players who can line up in the backfield and then sneak over to be a wide receiver. Definitely Sanders could do that. Next guy is AJ Green. He actually enrolled in the summer. He's a 4-star running back from Oklahoma, and he's been shocking some people. He runs a 4.39 40 time, pure speed. He was a state track champion, so it makes sense. He's 5'11 and 200 pounds, and really just speed is what he does. 7.8 yards per carry at high school, 19 touchdowns along with that number. And then Jimmy Smith was talking a little bit, and he said he's just really calm and poised at running back. He just doesn't freak out when there's a defender there, and he does a really good job of knowing his instincts. I think he could be in the special teams as well, just as a returner based off his speed. He also makes a lot of really good cuts. Now, the last guy I'm previewing here is Josh Oglesby, former Arkansas track star. Actually, in 2019, he was an All-American in the 4x100 relay. However, last season, he missed both track and football due to a knee injury suffered during preseason camp, but he's all good and healthy now. He ran a 6.74 in the 60-meter dash, which is really impressive. Played football in high school, so he's not new to the sport or anything. Just looking at high school film, he's tough. He runs through contact. He's not scared to, go to a defender and try to break the tackle. And you can do that when you have a lot of speed like he does. 5'8", 175 pounds. Fantastic athlete. He also does track during the offseason. And Trelon Smith was very high on him as well. And just a guy that has the amount of speed and toughness that Oglesby brings to the running back room. I think he'll carve out a role. I don't know if that's running back 2. It's kind of early to, say who's going to win that spot, but I think Oglesby will be used in some gadget spets. You don't let a guy as fast as him just sit on the bench. And also special teams is in play too. Now this last guy is kind of interesting because he was taking some tight end reps. However, it's Dominique Johnson. Last season he was 220 pounds. Now he's up to 235, 6'1". And he played a lot of special teams last year, 53 special team snaps, only 2 on offense there. And he's getting reps over at tight end because Levi Draper switched to tight end, and then he got hurt and will medical redshirt and retire. I really feel bad for him. He transferred from Oklahoma. He dealt with a shoulder injury there. And then with the 2 seasons in the Razorbacks, he had 2 season-ending surgeries. It's definitely tough for him to love football his life and then not be able to finish it